Okay, so I think we have a couple of people that have joined us already. So hello everyone and welcome to Fresh Fest 2021. I'm really excited to be here today to take you through the trust checklist, learn it to earn it. So my name is Catherine and I manage the technology partnerships for Trustpilot across the UK and ANZ. So this involves partners and relationships with all of the other technology platforms our customers use. So from Fresh Relevance to BigCommerce to Zendesk. And Trustpilot integrates with these platforms to make our customers day-to-day more seamless and all of our products more powerful as well. But I'm going to take you through a little bit about Trustpilot today and the theory behind social proof and why it's a necessity, and also those signals that consumers are really looking for. And I'll finish off with an actionable trust checklist because I really want you to be able to go away today with something tangible. So if you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. That should be there. And I've got one of my lovely colleagues is there monitoring this and can help you as we go along. And we also encourage you to visit our Trustpilot tent after the session as well. So a little bit about Trustpilot to begin with. So as I'm sure a lot of you might know, we've been around since 2007 and the mission has not deferred since being founded by our CEO, Peter. I think, a couple of years ago, less and less people might have known about Trustpilot, but I think especially in these times of uncertainty, our mission to be a universal symbol of trust has never been more important. So more businesses, especially as of recent, are going online and more consumers are now shopping online. So the question to start asking yourself within your business is, how trustworthy are we? So with 120 million reviews across over 529,000 companies, every time I give that stat, someone tells me that it's wrong because it's gone up again. But we are well on our way to becoming a universal symbol of trust. And especially in the UK, people now know who Trustpilot are, and when you say the name or see the green stars. So that's fine, we understand the brand, but what does Trustpilot actually do? So we bring consumers and companies together to continuously share, collaborate, and improve. So the power of our platform really comes from being open to all consumers and companies and independent of both and transparent. I think this means that we give everyone a voice, right? So reviews are published instantly, there's no censoring, there's no delays, and everyone can share their experiences and companies can freely invite and respond to reviews as well and open up that conversation. So we work really hard to make sure that you're reading real reviews based on real and genuine experiences. So let's begin with a little look at the state of consumer trust in the world today and, how we've got here. So in 2020, which was a really pivotal year for e-commerce as an industry, or actually for everyone, for that matter, we partnered with Canvas 8 to survey consumers across the UK and then whether or not they trust brands when they're shopping online. It turns out that there's been an 11% decline in the trust consumers have for brands. So brands are now what consumers say they are. Say that they stand for, not what the business says they stand for. Now, Jeff Bezos has said your brand is what others talk about when you've left the room. And he probably knows a few things about growing a brand, I'd probably say. So as people lose faith in traditional advertising, what they see online, they continue to trust their peers for recommendations. And increasingly, they trust online reviewers as peers as well. So in fact, consumer reviews are now ranked second to family and friends as the most trusted source of honest opinions. So consumer review websites are more trusted than schools, traditional institutions, mainstream media, and social media influencers. And I think that that's because we're just in an age of questioning everything. So in terms of, the implications and what this actually means, ultimately, it's down to the fact that we look to be influenced by those who have nothing to gain, right? There's no ulterior motive, there's nothing else going on. And third-party independent reviews fit that requirement. So as I've mentioned today, trust is very much the defining issue of the time that we live in. So whereas 5 or 10 years ago, a few select companies could truly claim that they were trusted in this new marketplace, Trust is becoming a hygiene factor and as an essential factor to purchasing decisions as well. So it's not just a nice to have as it might have been a few years ago. So without trust, commerce is going to suffer. So it's a real inhibitor for companies to grow. Now, the numbers speak for themselves, where almost 9 out of 10 consumers will check reviews before making a purchase. So we want to understand the mistakes that other people have made so we don't make them ourselves. Well, I certainly do anyway. So I think irrespective of the fact that I work at Trustpilot, it's the first thing I do. So a Hoover being my last online purchase, I know my mum does, my friends do. You check what other people have said about the product or service first before kind of diving in and buying or committing to something. So why is trust so important online? And why should we heavily focus on building our online trust? So what's the difference between kind of anything else that we might do in everyday life? So let's dig a little deeper into the psychology behind it. So it all comes down to unconscious trust and conscious trust. So when we're just buying on the high street, as we might have done a couple of years ago now, we buy based on a number of reasons, right? So how long that company or business might have been on the high street. Is there a big queue outside? When you see a queue and you're thinking, oh, must be lots going on there. So also whether those in the shops, whether those people are also browsing and buying. And when you go in as well, being able to actually touch and feel the quality of the goods, have a good look at them. And also that feeling where, you can just pop down again and kind of return anything unwanted. And of course, most importantly, you have that human interaction, right? So you've spoken to the shop assistant, they're on hand, they've helped you with a few questions, they've made you feel welcome. It's a good experience. Now, unfortunately, online, we need to be a little bit more conscious of how we communicate trust. You're only ever buying a promise online, right? So, and with a promise, there needs to be an element of trust. I think, especially in e-commerce, all loyalty is just a reflection of good relationships with your customers, and reviews helps you open that dialogue and talk to your customers. So each 5-star review is confirmation that you've kept your promise, and showcasing these where consumers are looking will obviously build that trust with those new consumers looking to buy what you're selling. I think the most important thing here, though, more than anything, is just the transparency side of things. I think one of the biggest thoughts or maybe objections or questions that as a partner manager or even a salesperson or whoever it might be at Trustpilot might receive is, but what about the bad reviews? And what do I do with them? So showing all reviews, good or bad, is a massive sign, and it allows consumers to see firsthand that if you do get it wrong, you're willing to, and you are also willing to try and make it right, and that's fine. Further research that we conducted in 2019 showed that we found that a 1-star review replied to in the right way, and positively can actually outweigh 10 5-star reviews, which can sometimes come across as disingenuous depending on the situation. But consumers, ultimately, they want human interaction and reliability rather than perfection, which I think is quite comforting for everyone in the industry. So that's all very well, but why do we need to use social proof? Why is it a must? So any positive comments about you or your business or even your product functions as social proof. Now, these online sentiments are endorsements that this person, company, service or product is great, and that the overall customer journey has satisfied previous shoppers. So the very presence of social proof makes a business more trustworthy because, by definition, social proof comes from customers. And with declining trust in traditional advertising, as I've kind of mentioned before, those voices tend to carry more and more weight than those branded messages from companies themselves, right? Because we don't know the motive. There's obviously a sense of self-interest. So in other words, social proof allows companies to take advantage of external validation and customer advocacy in order to influence potential customers, right? So what is more powerful than one of your customers saying that you're fantastic and then having that review right on your website in order to show to new potential customers? So the social proof really is something that is there, whether or not you like it or not, but it's about how you harness it and use it to your advantage. So there are 4 primary principles of social proof and trust signals that influence customers in ways that traditional adverts can't and probably never will. So the first here is uncertainty. So when you're not sure about a product or a company, consumers look to reviews. Similarity, number 2. Customers gather and use feedback from sources and people that they personally relate to, right? Number 3, expertise. Consumers will always value people who are more knowledgeable than them and have more experience. So you're always going to trust the experts. And number 4, numbers. You're always going to consider the number of satisfied customers before you and resulting in a reason to buy or to walk away. So those are kind of the 4 primary principles. But how do we actually showcase the signals of trust, right? So let's just say we've gathered all of our reviews, we've got our feedback. Okay, what do we do with it then? So we conducted some research, a lot of research recently, into what trust signals mean to consumers. And a staggering 98% of customers could identify at least one trust symbol that would increase their likelihood to buy. Obviously, we're talking about a specific type at the moment, specifically review content. But there are lots and lots of different types of social proof. Our data only confirmed that social proof strongly influences consumers, but it also showed that some trust signals influence customers more than others. So of all of the trust signals mentioned, reviews, star ratings, testimonials, those are the most important to customers. So positive star ratings and reviews ranked as the most effective. So that's number 1, followed by positive star ratings alone. So we want the content with it as well. And then positive customer testimonials. And then on-site badges were the next most influential after that. But using trust signals in the right place and at the right time is key in order to build trust with customers. So it doesn't matter what the industry is, whether you are in insurance or whether you are in retail, all marketing efforts seem to work better when they feature trust signals. But trust signals can work differently at different stages of the purchasing funnel. So it's not kind of a linear one-size-fits-all methodology. Customers look for and value different elements of social proof as they work their way closer to a purchase. So we'd always recommend to use trust signals throughout the funnel to help increase conversion rates at each touch point and also help reduce attrition and cart abandonment. But we've got a lot of research to kind of back up where it is, depending on what industry you're in, where it is you can place different types of social proof. But ultimately, it's going to be by trial and error and A/B testing that's kind of where you're going to find the real results. So as we've kind of gone through, reviews and ratings are extremely important for helping to increase conversions through social proof. But there are also other ways that this can be achieved as well. For example, using data-driven social proof can help influence consumers' purchasing decisions by allowing everyone else to see what's going on. I want to see what other consumers are buying, and I want to see what I'm missing out on. So instilling that urgency throughout the customer journey can be a powerful way to increase your company's conversions. And we recommend including on your product pages the likes of the number of visitors currently looking at the product page, the number of people who have bought the item in the last 24 hours, other items consumers who have looked at this page end up buying, particularly effective one, I think. And then also best sellers of the week or month. So trust checklist. Let's make this actually come to life, something you can take away. So we've listed here some places social proof can be displayed. Obviously, lots and lots of different places, as I've said, in the funnel. For example, the homepage, it's often quite overlooked. Maybe it seems a little bit obvious. Often product pages are favored over the homepage or the checkout page. But even if the majority of your site visitors arrive via a specific landing page, there's a good chance that they're still going to want to check out your homepage, especially if they're unfamiliar with the brand or kind of not sure about things. I always think that I go back to the homepage to kind of get an overview and understand the sort of the company ethos, but also trying to highlight customer reviews as much as possible on your homepage. You could showcase the quality and the quantity of your reviews. You could feature 3 to 5 recent reviews to show off what you love about the customer experience. And also round up your most reviewed or highly rated products and services. For example, here are some products our customers gave 5 stars to. So one of our customers, Protect Line, recently A/B tested pages with and without Trustpilot widgets, and saw a 14% increase in click-through rates on pages with trust boxes. So naturally, since then, they've implemented our Trustpilot widgets on their homepage, as well as on specific campaign landing pages as well. So really, to begin thinking about building this brand trust and to have the capabilities to take it to the next level, we suggest you start by considering these 5 points. 4 points? 5 points. So if you're answering no to any of these questions, think about the ways you and your team can really begin to start utilizing them. So if you're not already asking for feedback, why not start today? If you have review content, are you showcasing it in as many places as possible? And also, do you have someone there in your team actively responding to all of your reviews that you receive? So positive, negative, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And lastly, are you being as transparent as possible? So don't be afraid to showcase all reviews, good or bad, because consumers will only look for them anyway, right? So today's savvy consumer values honesty and communication above all. So thanks so much for joining me today, everyone. If you have any further questions, please come and speak to us after our session at the Trustpilot tent. Try and navigate your way there and hop in. Or, of course, you can find out more on trustpilot.com. But thank you very much. Bye now.